All right, got it. Okay. On the agenda, I have here, let's talk about the mentor reports. Couple things. If you are using the form that Sherilyn made for us, it's a great form. It's fillable. It makes it a lot easier to cut and or copy and paste, like from emails that your chapters may send to you when you're doing your report. Just make sure that you're extending that text box down big enough so that I can read all of your text. And before you email it to me, why don't you just open it up and make sure that I can see it all, because some people have been sending me long explanations, or the chapters are sending them more, but I'm not, it's getting cut off because the text box is too small. So extend your text box so it's bigger. Anybody who would like to use that fillable form, it's great. Sherilyn will make them up for you. All you need to do is email her at cdamigo@pacbell, PACBELL.net. Correct, Sherilyn? Yes. And let her know what your chapters are, and then she can make it up. And it's got like drop boxes so that you can, it'll just drop down and all of your chapters will be there and the months will be there. That it works really good. Otherwise, the old form still works. I just need you to be sending them in. But if you are using the new one, just make sure that that text box is big enough to get all of your information in, so I don't miss anything good. And also, some of you are emailing me the emails that you're sending to your chapters. I don't need to see that. I just want to see the end result. I just need the report. So, you don't have to send me, don't copy me on the emails that you're sending out. Does that make sense to everybody? Sherilyn? I can't hear you. It doesn't look like you're muted, but we can't hear you. Okay, maybe send a message or something. And yeah, that's what I had to say. And then also, just a reminder, don't send me all of your reports in one email. I want one email for each chapter. So on the subject line, if you can put Minnesota 11, and then that report would be in that email. Another email would be Minnesota 7, whatever it is. So just so that you have separate emails for all of them. Sherilyn, what are you saying here? Let's see. It helps us to save as and change it to a PDF before you. So if when you do a report, if you do it as a save as and then change it to a PDF, it'll come to me more accurate, I believe, is what she's saying. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Sherilyn, for doing that for us. And yeah, I know I had to have her redo mine because I lost some chapters, and then she redid the months also.
Denise, we have someone who's just joined on the iPhone, if they can tell us who that is.
Who just joined on the iPhone?
Could be me.
Who are you?
I kind of lost. This is Jen.
No.
I kind of lost you. I'm trying to get the video.
Yeah, Jen,
no.
I see you up here, and
Okay, then it's not me. I'm just trying to find the meeting, and I'm not finding it. I'm lost. Do you guys have my picture?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep,
I'm there
there
somewhere. I just have to find the software then.
So who else is on the phone?
The iPhone went away.
Okay, but we do have Sue Otto Jorgensen on now, so that could be her.
Me, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you also on with your iPhone though?
I tried, yes. And I've been trying for the last 10 minutes to get on. So I finally went to my laptop.
Okay, glad you made it. Okay.
So it must be me.
Yeah, no,
No,
you're there. We're good
You're
now.
fine.
Yep. Okay, so that's all I have to say about emails. Reminder that mentors can request a separate email, the at bluestarmothers.us email. All you have to do is send an email to the webmaster and she can hook you up on that. A lot of us are doing that just so you're not having all your mentor stuff go into your personal email account. It just keeps things straighter that way. But I just want to remind people that is available to you. And also, I just wanted to spend some time making sure that everybody knows that they should be saving their correspondence. So if you're getting emails from your chapters, just make up a file and plug all of them for that chapter into that file, so you've got them. So later on, if you have to refer back to the emails or any correspondence you got from that chapter, you've got it all in one place. Everybody's got their own system. I just use my Gmail files, and I've got a file for every chapter. And then I just plug everything into that. So just make sure you're keeping your emails so we have a trail of your correspondence. And then also with emails, make sure you're answering the emails in a timely manner. You don't have to get to it, every hour or two, but at least every couple days, check your email and acknowledge those emails. If a chapter has a question and you don't have time to write a long explanation, just even email them and say, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm, on the road or whatever. But I'm afraid that some chapters aren't getting answers fast enough from their mentors. I send you guys emails, and sometimes I don't hear from some of you for a week or two. And so if you're not answering me in a more timely manner, I'm afraid you're not answering your chapters either. So just be aware of that. Did someone have their hand up? No.
I don't see any.
Okay. I think my cursor was a hand and it was over someone, and I thought they had their hand up. So does anybody have any comments or questions about that? Okay. And then make sure that when you're sending your emails, make them personal. We want to form a good relationship with these chapters. So like I always say, I hope you're enjoying your fall. In Wisconsin, we finally got our first snowfall, blah, blah, blah. Or, if you can, I saw on Facebook that your chapter just celebrated their 10th anniversary. Happy anniversary. Now tell me what else you've been doing, kind of thing. Try to form a relationship with your chapters, and I think we'll have more success with them replying back to our emails. Does anybody have any comments or suggestions on that? No, you guys are also quiet. All right. And compliance, the deadline is coming up. It's not the mentor's responsibility to be hounding the chapters for their compliance, but if you're sending them an email in December, you might want to just mention that they should have gotten their compliance done, and if they had any questions or needed help, to let you know. And then if they come back to you and say, I don't know how to do a profit and loss, then you can refer them on to the financial officers, or refer them, if they have a compliance question, refer them to the 4th VP. You don't have to do their compliance. You don't have to answer all their questions, but just, remind them that compliance is due. Any questions about that?
Denise, may I make a comment?
Absolutely.
I talked to Becky, or Becky sent me a person yesterday. There are still people out there that have no idea how to do this 990N. I don't mind walking somebody through it. I think I could probably do it. I did it yesterday without even being in front of a computer. So
Okay, so
Very
if
easy.
any of your chapters come to you and say, I don't know what to do about this 990N, refer them, send them to Ann Parker and she can talk them right through it. It's really simple,
Yep.
but
But I leave on December the 9th for 3 weeks, so do it
Okay.
before December 9th.
okay. And if it's after that, they should have it done by now, but if it's after that, refer them to Brenda Ternello, the 4th VP, and she can answer their questions on that. Okay, thanks, Anne. We will be, if you recall, last February at mid-year, at the pre-mid-year meeting, we went through all of the chapters and determined how often they should be contacted by their mentor. And we will be reevaluating sometime in February all the chapters. And so if you have a chapter that you feel should be shortened, if they're on a 1 year or 6 month, but you feel like they've got all new officers, or it just seems as though they really need more guidance, let me know so we can make note of that, and we'll adjust it. But we do have a criteria point system and how we decide that. So I don't really want to hear if you got someone that's every 2 months and you're like, oh, they're a great chapter, they're really nice, they do a lot of things, so I think we should only be contacting them every 6 months. That's not really what we're doing. We have a point system that we go through. So, they may be very active, but if they never submit to the newsletter or the yearbook, or they don't come to conventions, then they aren't going to get as many points as someone else. So then they probably should stay on the every 2 months. So if you can just keep that in mind in February, if any of your chapters do have changes, I'll be letting you know that in February or March. Are there any questions about the frequency of how often we contact people? Jen Schindler?
I have a relatively new chapter that seems to be doing really well. And they've completed compliance already, and I'm just really proud of these ladies. Is that something you would consider in a request for lengthening out their check-ins?
We do look at when they get their compliance done, but we also look at how new of a chapter they are. I believe the guideline, Becky, correct me if I'm wrong, or Carla, you were there too. If they're newer than 3 years, they're an automatic every 2 months.
Okay, so this chapter stays there because they are. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Any other questions about the frequency deal? Do you think that's
I have
working?
one.
What's that, Trudy?
What about the ones that have to only be contacted once a year? I have a few of those and I don't hear from them at all. So are they supposed to tell or contact us like January, June? What's the one time a year that they're supposed to, or
That's kind of up to the mentor, and it should be the mentor contacting them in that 1 year time span. And then, when you contact them, they need to reply back to you. Otherwise, we would want to decrease that frequency. So like say if you decide every October you're going to send to all of those once a year chapters, and there's a chapter that doesn't reply back to you, and you recontact them and they aren't getting back to you, then we'll probably put them back to a more frequent, like every 2 month thing until they start replying to the chapter.
Okay.
But we can't leave it up to the chapters to notify us. We have to contact them.
right.
At
And
least once a
I
year.
have been, I mean, I've done
Uh-huh.
it twice, 2 different months actually, and I wasn't getting any response. So
Okay. Why don't you send me an email on that or your concerns on it, Trudy, and then we'll keep that in mind. But
okay, thank you.
and when we're going through these, we look at how how they've been responding to their mentors. And that's why it's important for you guys to be getting me your reports. That's one of the things we take under consideration.
And I think fall is a good time to follow up with them if it's only annually, because they may have new board members. So you're emailing new people, getting your name out to
Mhm.
new people. So I think that's a good time for your once a
Yeah.
year is after they've had their elections for the chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean you can't contact them any other time also. You know, there might be a time where, like in April or May, you want to send them a reminder to submit pictures to the yearbook, or there could be a you know, a reminder about getting your delegates registered for convention, something that you feel is important to send to them, even if you're not obligated to check in with them more often.
Yeah.
You know, you can always check in with them.
And that's what I was going to say too. I think what Denise just said is an excellent point. Even though you need to file a report on them once a year, there's nothing at all wrong with you checking in around the holidays, or, you know, like Carla said, you know, in the fall when they've got new officers, and just kind of reintroducing yourself. You can always send them something in the spring, or like after the when convention chatter starts going out, and just say, just wanted to make sure you ladies saw convention chatter. Hope you all will be able to make it to convention. You can always send them a sisterly email, but you don't have to report on them, you know, more than once a month. And that, by reaching out to them a little bit more often too, it just kind of reminds them that you are there at any time that they need anything. Marisol's got her hand up.
Thank you. Just going back to compliance, real quick, is that information that we are going to be provided? Do we need to know what their status is on compliance? Do we worry about that at all?
No, not at all. When we first started the mentor, when the mentor program was first started, the fourth VP would reach out to the mentors and let every mentor know where your chapters were at. The mentors felt like that they were becoming hounds, that they were constantly saying, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. And that's not what we intended for the mentors. So we take the mentors completely out of the compliance piece of it. But of course, if they ask you questions, and for all of you guys, if you're very comfortable doing a 990, if you know a profit and loss like the back of your hand, and if your chapter asks you a question about it, you are more than welcome to answer those questions. You don't have to direct them to a national officer. We just wanted to let you know that you don't have to do that. So if profit and loss or 990 is not your thing, and somebody asks you those questions, feel free to pass them on. But if you're very comfortable with helping them, then by all means, go ahead and help them. That's not a problem at all. But no, we will not tell you where your chapters are in compliance.
Would it be something in my introductory email in December to ask, how did compliance go, or
Yeah.
how are things looking as far as compliance? Do you have any questions? Is that acceptable?
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. However you want to introduce yourself. And if that's about the time that you're sending out your welcome email, that's very appropriate for you to mention that. That's not a problem at all.
Thank you.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to give you the code word, which if you're on the meeting tonight, it doesn't really matter. But if you're watching this video in the future, if you've missed the meeting and you're watching the video, you'll need to get back to me and tell me what the code word is. And I'd like to give you something about my grandchildren. So I have to tell you about little Maisie May. She'll be 3 in April, and she is a terror. She's the third child, and I think the older two like encourage her misbehavior sometimes. So Grandpa has renamed her to be Mayday. So the code word is Mayday. She's very, very cute and very, very smart, but she's a little bit more challenging than her sister and brother. So that is the code word for tonight. The next thing I have on the list is Zoom or call into the chapter meetings. We've suggested in the past that you can let your chapters know that you would love to join them in one of their meetings just to introduce yourself. Some chapters do have Zoom, some do not. You could always just call in also. And it's not a bad idea for you to do that, so all the members know who you are. Just let them know that you just want to stop in and introduce yourself, but you don't need to stay for the whole meeting. If they would like you to stay for the whole meeting, that's up to them. But when I've done this with my chapters, I just tell them, I just want to stop by and introduce myself so you guys can put a name to and face to the name and let everybody know who I am. So they will feel comfortable contact me if they need to with any questions. But you don't want to sit in on their whole meeting, because that's kind of intimidating. They may feel like you're watching them and monitoring them. And down the line here, I have something that says you're a mentor, you're not a monitor. You know, we're not policing these chapters. We just want to help them to be better and help them to grow. So by introducing yourself to them at a Zoom or even on a phone call to their meeting, I think it's good, but you don't really need to be at their meeting for the whole meeting. That's intimidating. I would be a nervous wreck if our mentor came to our chapter meeting. So, because she's really scary. Just kidding, Jeannie. Okay. Any questions or comments about that, ladies? Okay, good. All right. The department mentor program is kind of in flux right now. We've had a couple of our wonderful mentors become elected to be department presidents. Congratulations, ladies. But it's going to affect our department mentor program a little bit. So I would like to maybe toward the end of November have a meeting with the department presidents and the department mentor chairs. And yeah, probably just them, not the mentors themselves, but the mentor chairs from the 3 departments and the presidents, so that we can kind of figure out, make sure we're all doing the same thing, get on the same page on everything, and make sure everything is good there. So kind of watch out for that, ladies, and I'll be, you know, trying to get something scheduled. Okay. Officer rosters are coming in fast and furious. Karen's been sending them to me every day. As soon as I get those officer rosters, I forward them on to you. Even when I was on vacation, I tried to do that every couple days, just to make sure that you're getting the current information. But if you haven't gotten an officer roster yet for your chapters, it just means that theirs hasn't been processed or approved yet. They may not have submitted it yet, or they're waiting for something to be approved. But as soon as Karen approves those, she forwards them on to me, and then I forward them on to you guys. Those do not include any phone numbers. And if you ever needed the phone number of your president, just let me know and I can get that for you. If they're not answering emails, you know, sometimes a text message or a call is what is needed. So just let me know if you need that, if you need the phone numbers. Karen, did you have anything to add to the officer roster piece?
I don't think so. I have a few that are waiting some corrections, but you have most.
Okay.
And so I'm keeping up with those pretty well. One thing Becky and I kind of talked about that I would like to, I think you already encouraged this, but maybe just a reminder that when the mentors reach out to the chapters, that they're emailing the whole board, not just the president. And this is the time of year where there are some people that haven't quite renewed yet. They may be an officer and they haven't renewed, but I would still try to contact them just to make sure that we have the communication open, because some people might be hesitating to renew, but if they get communication from their mentor, that may help the whole process. So yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so don't just email the president, email the whole board. You guys are mentors for the whole chapter, not just the president, not just the board. And I've reminded my chapters that I'm a mentor for every member, so that I'm asking them to please pass on my contact information to the whole chapter. And that's another reason to ask if you can come to a meeting via Zoom or by a phone call, just so that all the members see who you are also. So, all right, we're zipping right along here. There are some chapters every once in a while that a mentor will bring to. Oh, go ahead, Carol. Did you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say that over the last few months, I've had other Blue Star members that I am friends with and have called me asking me what they should do, and they're not in any chapter that I mentor, and I've had to tell them that I cannot make a comment on the situation, that they have to contact their mentors. And a lot of them didn't even know they had a chapter mentor. So,
Carol, that's
just a
one
reminder.
reason. That is one reason why, we have suggestion. I know Denise touched on it just a few minutes ago, but if your chapter has the Zoom option, we strongly encourage you to say, hey, I'm going to participate in your next Zoom meeting. I just want to pop on as a guest at the very beginning so that I can introduce myself. That's the best way, because we cannot share the chapter rosters because we respect the confidentiality of our chapters. So we can't give you the complete chapter roster, but if you can pop onto their Zoom meeting and just say, my name is Carol Sanchez. I just want everyone to know that I am the mentor for the entire chapter. Here's my email. Here's my phone number. So you've at least given out your information. That's the best way to get in touch with these people. If your chapters don't have a Zoom, that makes it a little bit more difficult. But a lot of the chapters are going to both in-person and Zoom options. So we highly recommend that if they have that Zoom option, that you take advantage of it and get yourself introduced to everyone.
And I've been trying to do an article in the newsletter every other month, hoping that, the word gets out that we all have mentors. I don't know what else we can do to spread the word, but Carol, you're right in that if people are coming to you, it's good to refer them to their mentor. You don't want to get in the middle of, well, Carol said this and you said this kind of thing. So it's good to make sure that they're going through their mentor for things. But along with that, if it's conflict type issues, no mentor wants to get involved with that. If you see that there's an issue with the chapter, with some conflicts going on, let me know right away so I can discuss it with Rebecca, and the NEB can take it from there and decide if this is an issue that needs to go to conflict resolution. We don't get involved in conflicts among the chapter. We're there to answer questions, maybe give them suggestions about things to do, fundraisers and so forth, but we're not there to be a mediator for issues that might come up. Okay. There are some chapters that we do notice or figure out that they may be struggling, and the mentors, will send a note, or on their report, they may say to me, this chapter mentioned that they're struggling to get members. They're afraid they're going to have to close, kind of thing. When I get those messages, I send them right on to the president, to Rebecca, and she has formed a committee or policy. Do you want to talk about the PNP program?
Sure. So we had several chapters with the elections coming up. We had several chapters that said, oh, don't know if we're going to be able to seat a board. We might be closing. So what I did is I formed a special committee with my PMP. So Ann Parker, Carla Bradacki, and Stacy Anders. when we find out that these chapters, you know, are kind of struggling a little bit, they can't grow their membership, the officers are getting burned out, they don't know if they'll be able to seat a new board. We talk about it, I talk about it with Denise, and then I'm handing it over to my PMPs, and they are reaching out. We're calling it the Revival Program. And so our PMPs have contacted these chapters. And again, just offering some sisterly support. Where is it that you're struggling? What can we do to help? And again, these are not issues. Has nothing to do with drama in the chapter or conflicts in the chapter. It's the fact that they don't know how to grow the membership, and there's only 7 members in the chapter. And so our PMPs have done a fabulous job of reaching out to these chapters. We've already reached out to several. We've been able to seat boards that they didn't think that they were going to be able to seat. And so it's been fabulous for us to do that. So again, when you're talking to your chapters, as long as it's not an issue or conflict, you know, like a conflict resolution thing, if it's just the fact that they feel like they're struggling a little bit and you don't think that you can help them, please let Denise know, and then she and I'll chat, and then I'll hand it off to my PMPs, and we'll see what we can do to breathe some life back into these chapters, because our goal is to make everyone successful.
And it's always good if you see early on in the year that that the officers are giving you the indication that they could be struggling, or you know, I've had a president say, this is my last year. If nobody else takes it over, this chapter is going to be done. Mm-hmm. Early intervention is really the best. You know, we don't really want to wait until August or September to find this out. You know, if you're hearing that there may be troubles in February or March, it's better to know about it then, so that they can maybe try to build their membership so that they have more members to be able to field a board or fill a board. Any comments or questions about that? I want to thank the PMPs. Anne is on the call, but also Stacy and Carla, that they're doing this, because I think that if every chapter that we can save is great, and I really appreciate the time that they're putting into these chapters to revive them. So thank you so much, Anne. Pass it on to the others too, please. All right. The last thing I have on here on my agenda is sisterly relationships with your chapters. I touched on this before about when you're sending out your emails, make them personal. I think the more that we can become their friend or their sister, the better the chapters are going to be. They'll be more successful if they feel comfortable going to their mentors with questions. Try to form a sisterly bond with your chapters. You know, it doesn't mean that you have to drive across country to go and visit them, or you know, send them a greeting card every time there's a special holiday. But if you can maybe try to find a common bond and you know, show them that you care, I think they're going to respond to you much better. I know I've got a chapter today, one of the president she was new last year, but they're really rolling now. And she just sent me an email and said, could we just chat over the weekend sometime? I just feel like I need to you know, talk about some things that you know, some ideas that I have, and I want to make sure that I'm in line and what I should be doing as a president. So, you know, I just feel like the more of a sisterly bond we can make with these chapters, the better the program is going to be and more successful it's going to be. Any comments about that?
I think, this is Teresa, I would like to say that I do encourage reaching out to your chapters, regardless of however months you have them, because it does build a bond. And thank you for mentioning that, because there are some that I reach out to regardless, just because.
Yeah. And, you know, if you know that they're celebrating a special anniversary, or their big fundraiser is next week, it doesn't hurt to send them a message or an email and say, hey, thinking about you, I hope your golf tournament goes well and you're successful. Then they know that you're really paying attention to what they're doing. So the more you can do that, I think the better response we're going to get from the chapters.
Yeah, absolutely. And just, I see Anne's got her hand up, but just real quick, along with those lines, if you don't know when the chapters that you're mentoring, if you don't know when they were chartered, we can give you that information. So if you would like to send them a happy anniversary card or something, or an email, again, just anything that you can do, you don't have to report on them, but once a year, but anything that you can do to continually reach out and just let them know that you're there, and you do know what's going on in their chapter, and you're really proud of their success. That's the best thing that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Anne's got her hand up.
With that, just let me know if you need to know what their charter date is, and I can get that for you. It's real simple. Go ahead, Anne.
I just wanted to remind everybody that about a year ago, well, it's a little more than a year, but anyway, I spent a great deal of time recording the training I do with new chapters. And what we're finding, or what I'm finding and discussed with Becky and others, is when you get a new board, there's a lack of knowledge in some of the officers. And so I would encourage you, and ever how you want to state it, to encourage the boards to get together. And those videos are on the national webpage. They're about an hour each. Not that I have all the answers, but I've been doing it with a couple of the chapters that I mentor, and with some that I've been asked to do this with by our national president. So it's never a bad idea to get more information. And, a new person coming in that never has been treasurer before may not get it, that she's got to sign the checks, or she's got to approve the payments, or that she can't give her debit card out, or, the list just goes on and on and on and on. So I really would suggest that. I said, not that my training's the greatest in the world, but it's got some good stuff in there that I hit on: the leadership handbook, the code of conduct, the financial policies, the bylaws, the Constitution, and the affiliation agreement. It's about 4 hours worth. And I try not to make it dull and boring. And they need to encourage their members to have those documents. I mean, that's part of our members' rights. It says to have a copy of the governing documents, or know where to find them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and just to remind everyone, because I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again, the leadership handbook is in the process of being completely revamped. The roles and responsibilities of all of the officers are going back into our governing documents where they belong. And the leadership handbook, we are actually creating a leadership handbook for chapters, so that each one of those officers will have a how-to. We kind of laughed and said it's kind of like when they came out with the Excel for dummies kind of thing. This is going to be a leadership handbook for dummies. So we'll have simple things on there about, a president and creating your agenda, what should be in the agenda. We'll have information on recording secretary and how to take proper minutes for your chapter. We'll have information in there for our financial officers. Not all chapters have got a third VP, but every chapter should know how to do a blue to gold. And so we'll have information on there as to, what you need to do and the steps to do. So what we're trying to do is revamp that leadership handbook and make it a true hands-on leadership handbook and a reference guide, so that the chapters can go there and find some how-tos on how to do some stuff. So, but yes, they all need to be familiarized with our governing documents. Denise, I went to a nonprofit luncheon today. They were giving out some awards, and the keynote speaker said something today that I just really kind of hit home with me and with our organization as well. He said, "We are not here to compete with each other, but to complete each other." And I think that that's a good thing for all of our mentors to pass along to their chapters. Each of us brings something special to the table. We're not all alike, and we all have our own strengths and weaknesses. And I think together is what makes us strong, and it makes the chapter strong, and it makes our organization strong. And so if you can pass that along to the chapters and get them to see that, you may not see eye to eye with everyone in your chapter, but you need everyone in your chapter to be successful. So there's my words of wisdom. We're
Wow,
not here
that's
to
a good one.
not here to compete with each other. We are here to complete each other.
That's a very good one. All right. As I said before, we have 5 chapters that need mentors. If anybody is willing to take on a chapter, let me know, and we'll hook you up. One of them is one that just needs to be notified once a year. One is every 6 months, and 3 of them are every other month or every 2 months. So that would help me out a lot. Just to let you know, I am going to California on Tuesday, and I'll be back like the 16th or 17th. I'll be back to Carla's on the 16th if she picks me up at the airport. But I will have my phone. I'm not going to have my computer, so it'll be limited of what I can do. But let me know if you need anything. I'll still be available. Otherwise, I will pass you on to someone else. And on my last vacation, I know someone sent me an email, and or a text, and I just said, "Can you please call Becky about this?" And I think there was one the time before that I sent to Karen. I know that everybody is here to help each other out. So if I can't help you, I'll get you help. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Anything that they want to share? Connie, did you have something?
I don't have any questions or comments about the meeting. I just want to ask you guys that when you take a moment to say your prayers or whatever it is that you do, I received a message from my baby girl this morning. Germany is in not good shape at the moment. We've been planning a trip for me to go to Germany for Christmas, and it may not happen now. They've canceled all the Marine Corps balls this coming week. She said it's her exact words, it's crazy and unstable. So for Germany to be in that shape, this was supposed to be a cakewalk for Mom for the first time since she joined, and now it is not a cakewalk anymore. So if you guys could just keep that area in your thoughts and prayers, I would appreciate it.
I lived in Germany, Connie, when the shoe bomber was out, and we all got an email from the State Department and asked us to give them the information for our next of kin. Well, that was pretty scary. So I understand and appreciate what's going on.
She's been to Afghanistan, Kuwait, South Korea. She's been in, conflict, but this was supposed to be easy for Mom, and not easy anymore.
Lots of prayers, dear.
I have something I'll add, just as keep in mind, we have a local, I want to say, Air Force member, mom that's about a half an hour from where our chapter meets, and 2 of our moms are friends with her, and she has 2 in the service and got word that one of them took his life this weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Waiting to hear her one son is going to escort the body of his brother home, and we're waiting to hear the CAO. But just please pray for the Lynch family.
Gosh.
Oh, too many blue to gold this year.
Yep.
Any?
All right. Any other comments? Does anybody have any successes, anything that they want to share that they think might help everybody else out? Anything here?
I have a
Jen?
happy news. Go,
I
Jen.
have a success.
What's that?
I was with one of my new chapters. I went on their Zoom last Thursday night and was greeted very friendly, and I was only on there for 5 minutes or less. So the going in and introducing yourself seemed to be a success for me.
Good.
Good. Yeah, I enjoy doing it just because then I can kind of, know how they, who they are and what they look like. And I just feel like, it works both ways. I enjoy doing that. I wish I could do it for more of my chapters.
Carla has her hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to mention too that in the newsletter that's going to be coming out this month, we've had, for those of you that hopefully are reading the newsletter, we have several Blue Daisies that we've been notified of too. So if your chapters have a Blue Daisy, that would be a nice time to reach out to. Some of them put them in their chapter page in the newsletter, and then others, I think we'll have 2 of them on a separate page this month.
Carla, thank you for that reminder too. So for mentors, if you can remind your chapters, God forbid, but if they have a Blue Daisy, if they could please let our first VP know, she will change their membership to Blue Daisy. And we also need to let our chaplain know, which is Stacy Anders, and it's the chaplain. She has the chaplain email address. So if you can let her know so that we can have them added to the memorial service. And then also for Carla being the second VP, so that she can make sure that she gets into the yearbook at the end of the year, that would be great. And I know we had a couple that we lost this last year, and we did not know it until we were putting the yearbook together. So if you can remind your chapters that, if they have something like that, if they could make sure that they reach out to us and let us know, we would greatly appreciate it. Back to you, Denise.
All right. Anybody else have any comments? Anything they want to share? Most importantly, I forgot to even tell you guys, about an hour ago, I was still putting in reports on my chart because you were all getting them all in at the last minute. I only have 8 chapters that have reports due that I haven't gotten. So that's huge.
Great.
That's huge. You guys are doing great.
Good job, ladies.
Yeah, and it's just random ones here and there. It's not like one mentor is totally blown off reporting. It's just, I think they're just some stragglers that they're still trying to get responses from those chapters. So thank you so much, you guys, for doing your job. It's working. I feel like we're getting more information from the chapters because now they're understanding, why we want this information to share with others. And, you guys are doing the right thing by getting them to respond back to you and getting the reports to me. So thank you so much for that. I totally appreciate it.
We really appreciate all the hard work that goes into it, and we appreciate your feedback as well. Tell us what works, what doesn't work, what you think that we can do as a whole, what we can do to make this better, because that is our goal. We just want those chapters to know that we're here to help and to try to just be able to give some sisterly assistance before they end up in a hole that they can't get back out of. So appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you all so much for all you've been doing. And unless anybody's got anything else, I think we can be done for tonight.
I think so. Karen Stillwell, if you could stay on after for just a second, I would appreciate it.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.